separados.
When you join a gang, you don't get to leave.
Ora mo treina mo mga masali.
The only way to leave a gang is dead.
Ang único maneira mo na gang na
I've worked with gangs for the last 14 years. The M&M, MBC, Shanghai Crew, Crips, Bloods. I bury them. I go to funerals. I go to churches. I go to hospitals. Bullets in their stomachs. And I say this to all of them. And I say this to all who are thinking or contemplating on being involved with gangs and guns. You're gonna have to watch your best friend die. And oftentimes you're probably gonna have to be the one to kill him because of the position that you hold. My sister's son just earlier on January in Alberta, Canada. He was a gang leader, 21 years old. Started at 15. 16 bullets was put into him. My sister, his mother, would not take a dime from him. When you bring her flowers for her birthday, she would say, when you get a job, I'll accept this flower. And mothers, you need to start doing that to your sons. Fathers, you start questioning your kids. Mothers and fathers, listen to me. I've been through it. I used to hide drugs in my room. My mama couldn't find it. You gotta start waiting up for your children at night to see if they got red eyes, to see if they smell a cigarette or smoke, to see if they're high on drugs. You can't tell your kids you love them and you fall asleep at 8 o'clock. That ain't love. And then when the police comes to get a report on when the child is missing and he said, who does he hang out with? You look at the officer like you're stupid. I don't know. What's his friend's name? I don't know. And then you want the police to find your child. Then you blame them for not doing their job. You have failed your children. You have failed them. Not the law. The law is there for one thing. It's to enforce and to try to keep the peace. But you are responsible for your own children. And if you can't bend a tree when it's small, don't try to bend it when it's tall. Because that's where the police has to come in. And when he shoots your child, you say he's a murderer. I'm not picking up for the police, but I've seen too many parents who allow their children to do what they want, come in when they want, go in when they want. And remember something, neighbor, there's an avalanche coming. If you don't help those parents who have kids who have problems, when it hits your home, nobody will be helping you either. Wake up! This is somebody who's been through it. So any questions you want to ask, I can tell you the depth of the secret. Why I did what I did, the depth of everything. I do workshops in schools all over the world. I just did 20 schools in Jamaica. And Air Jamaica sponsored me. The Sven Company brought busloads of kids from other schools. There's an avalanche coming, and the only way to help to stop it is if you help the neighbor who has the problem before it hits your house. And if God can use a gunman to come and talk to you, for you to listen, next he'll be sending a donkey. You'll be selling a donkey next time if you don't listen. We are either a part of the solution or a part of the problem. And if you're saying, not my kids, you're a part of the problem. You're a part of the problem. Not my kids. Of course it's your kids. But your kids go to school with these kids. Today for you, tomorrow for them. Be very careful. Find out who your kids hang out with. Or at least 3 names, phone numbers, addresses where they live, who their parents are. Because if you check on who the parents are, you'll find out who the kids are. Myself, leaving Canada, going to a place where I heard that marijuana was more money. I was making more money selling marijuana in in Florida than in Canada.
Na Florida,
I buy a dime bag of weed for $10 in Canada. In America, I buy a dime bag of weed for $12 US.
Beta comprar
So it was more money.
droga para $2.
But when I went there, I got hooked up with some guys that was in laundering money through the car business.
Na univers ko algo
And I realized
placa
that
de auto.
I didn't have to bother with pimping or drugs anymore.
Dati para comida
Cars, there was less headache. You were dealing with the innocent people. You weren't selling from drug dealer to drug dealer, from pimp to pimp.
Auto
You were dealing with just auto. Cars don't talk back, they don't fight back, they don't hit
Auto
back.
back en dan bring je back.
So it was a wise business decision.
En dat was dan de show die
I bought this Porsche off of this man.
Maar compra e
It had 80,000 miles on the speedometer on the
En
dashboard.
dat die 8
And when
metro con eso.
I checked the car out, cleaned the car up,
Ormai controllavo
cleaned it up,
pie.
and had a compression test. They told me that car had 180,000 miles on it.
80 miglia con
I got angry.
Ma rabbia.
And I went looking for the man. I said, yo, Christian,
Hey, guy.
I want back my money.
Che mi placa beh.
He looked at me and he said,
Guarda che sabe?
no, man, I ain't giving you your money
No,
back.
tu non avevo placa beh.
No way.
No.
So, what's my next move?
Avevo chi mi si chiede
I took him to court.
Ma io corte no.
See, I didn't shoot him.
Mi do a te. Ti vedi?
Not yet.
Hai vedo?
Because when you squeeze that trigger, you don't pull the trigger, you squeeze the trigger. Once you squeeze it, it's over. A gun is made for one thing. One thing only, to kill. So anytime you know anybody who possesses a gun,
Quem continua arma?
you need to question whether or not you want to associate yourself with that person. A gun is made for one thing,
Arma
is to kill.
para matar.
And if you have killing intentions, then you need to question your integrity. You need to question who you are, because if you're saying it's for protection, you're associated with the wrong people. You know how many people live in this country that don't carry guns, and they're safer than the guys who carry them? Do you know the minute people found out that I had a gun, I was in more danger than when I didn't carry one? Remember this. The other day, a young man got angry and beat this guy up. The guy ran home, broke into his father's gun cabinet, broke into it, took the gun, and went and shot the guy twice. You didn't have any intention of harming anybody, you wanted it for protection. But all of a sudden, your children and the people that you have around you in your family, it now affects them. That young man is up for murder. Think on these things when you have firearms in your home. Turn in those guns. I'm telling you, you're doing yourself a favor, because if anybody, your children or anybody know of you having a gun, and they tell a friend, that friend will break into that house and steal that gun. You're endangering your family, your community, and everyone at large. A gun is made for one thing, it's to kill. I've never seen a gun protected anybody in my whole life. I've seen people shot. I've seen people died in my arms. I've seen pregnant women kicked up until they bleed. I've seen some wicked things. I've seen fathers sexually abuse children. Kids who come, 14-year-old, 15-year-old come to my house bleeding at night. I have been through hell. And I'm here to tell you, it's only God's love that can change people like myself. Only God's love. Because what you may have to say, I don't trust you all. Because when somebody who's supposed to nurture me, bring me up in the adoration of the Lord, abuses me sexually, how can you, who is a stranger, tell me anything? How am I going to listen to you? I don't trust nobody. But God did for me what no one could. That's why I go all over the world. Sit down with the beggar man on the street corner, or the thief, or the robber. A gunman stopped me one time coming home. He heard me on the radio. And he came to the place where he knew I was at 3 o'clock at night. And in this country, you don't stop for anybody at that hour. And he stopped and he waved on the car, and the Holy Spirit says, stop. I said, you sure, God? He said, I say stop. I said, Lord,
Io sì, mi di para.
can I please just go next
Con Gesù
step?
vai, la che cosa
He
può
said,
dire?
stop.
E di
So
stop.
I stopped.
Poi sbastò.
When this man comes, he says, he leans over my car. Right away, I saw he had a big old 45 in his
Lui era
waist.
su 45 da solo.
And I stepped out of the car right away.
Ma sale poi c'è auto persona.
And he said, are you Mr. Thompson?
E di auto
I said, yes.
E di sì.
He says,
E di
can I speak to you?
mi può fare più cubo?
I said, you are already speaking to me
E
already.
dico, dove abbiamo comicato?